All right, good morning and welcome back to Gun Bunny Customs. And today we're going to be doing part two of our transformation of the Fortnite boat into a G.I. Joe classified water moccasin for our esteemed colleague and driver, Copperhead here. So, like I said, this is the second part. So in the first part, if you didn't tune in, if you haven't seen it yet, check it out because I go over the process of how I figure out how to just completely disassemble the boat by taking out the plugs that cover up the screw holes, unscrewing it, opening it up, taking all the screws underneath, breaking everything apart into its, all its different components. And then we figured out what we wanted to keep and what we wanted to not use again. So we got rid of like the pipes and the little jet engine stuff and the water nozzle exhaust. We got rid of that. And we are, then what else did we do? Oh, and then we did some light modding and lowering the seat. So then that way we give him a much lower profile given the boat. The final product of the boat is going to be a much lower profile because we were able to lower him between 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch, which, like I said, sunk him down pretty good in there. So we're going to try to keep that, like I said, that profile nice and tight. And so also what it did was it gave a more realistic height and gap between his legs and the steering wheel to where it's more in the sort of chest mid-sternum range the way that it should be. And also he'll be able to he's also, if you want him posed, to be able to touch all the buttons and stuff like that, he'll be able to. Now as the process goes on, I'm probably going to fabricate just a little bit more stuff in here and in here, more controls, just to kind of add a little bit more detail to it. So like I said, so then we lowered the chair to make that good, and then we took all of our components and we so then we broke everything down to it in its components, and then we washed it with warm water and Dawn. We scuffed it with a Scotch-Brite pad like this one, but a brand new clean one, and then we primed it in this beautiful green primer that I got from Advanced Auto Parts. So now we are here. So this is the final result of that. So now this is the portion where we're going to start the measuring and fabricating. So my idea was to create basically a top to sit down on top of here, and and connect here on the kind of the ridge line of the body, and then that way it would kind of encapsulate him, and we would have it look like an updated version of the moccasin. So in order to accomplish that, I'm gonna create like a rough mock-up, and I'm gonna create a rough mock-up by measuring certain points on the boat, the obvious, the width and the length, and then eventually we're going to go down into worrying about the depth, and then bringing it down, bringing it up, and then creating the body lines of it. But at first, what we need to do is we need to get sort of an overall blank of the area, and like I said, I'm gonna get that by measuring from here to here to here to all the way back around here. So it's basically gonna be a rectangular shape. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out how big and what shape to make his opening, right? And so then that way you could get him in and out of the cockpit without any banging on the corners or banging on the sides of that and chipping paint or chipping his paint. So that way he can cleanly get pulled in and out, and then also have a little bit of room for a little bit of posing and stuff like that for all you photographer guys. So then we'll do that. We'll create that opening, and then we're just going to sort of have a flat base for us to start working both up and down, but then all of the other details, because eventually from here to here and then all in here, all of that is going to be enclosed, right? Now I have taken off the parts right here where the railing goes, and I took them off because I don't know if you remember, on the back they had like these little seat cushions that would go here for the troops to kind of sit on. Well, that ridge and bump and all that stuff, it isn't smooth, and I'm going to need that to be smooth. So what I did is I obviously I took these off. Let me see which one goes where. And what I did was I just cut a flat piece of styrene, and you know, I measured it, cut it, and glued it on. So then now the thing that's going to sit on top has something flat to sit on, as opposed to 5 bumps that I would have to figure out. And we're going to be doing things like that along the way to kind of help us get it. So then we're going to want the whole of the, you know, we're going to want the top of this thing to kind of sit right down the middle of all of this, right there. So then that way it sits right in the middle, and we have plenty of you know, plenty of structure, so to be able to hold it and hold it cleanly. So we're going to go from this flat portion here on the top of the dashboard or console. It's going to go down, it's going to go this way, and then all the way through the back and all the way around the front. So what I did is I measured that. Like I said, I drew out the shape, and like I said, this is just a rough mock-up, but is it the right way? Oh, here's the right way. So this is going to kind of sit like this. And there's, like I said, this is just sort of a mock-up, so I can kind of see what I'm working with space-wise, and so then that way I can make all of my errors on this, as opposed to the actual ship. You know what I mean? That the actual toy, which, you know, costs money, where the styrene just costs a couple of bucks. You know what I mean? I'm willing to sacrifice a couple of sheets of styrene and the name of figuring this out. So if you look at that profile, just right where it sits right there. So like I said, this part is going to get raised up a little bit, and then we're going to go in a little bit. We're going to go, turn it like this. We're going to go in this way a little bit, and then we're going to go back up again. So it's going to kind of have like the level, sort of like the original boat had. And so what we're going to do is, we're going to start with this, and then like I said, we're going to work our way down this way, down the back to cover this all in. So it's going to go all the way to here and down in here. I don't know what I'm going to do with the motor, because it does have, there's a hole on the side of the block where there was this, it was like rope for like a water skier, and I took that off. So it does have this, you know, hole in the back, and that's what I might put the drive shaft in for the, and I mean, I know that's going to look goofy as shit, because, you know what I mean, there's no like transmission or anything like that, but you know, I'm not a fan boat expert or anything like that, and I'm especially not an expert on a fake toy fan boat. So I might just put that there, and then have the prop, so then that way we can make the fan, and it'll look like it's kind of attached to the motor. And then, I mean, I'll try to church it up a bit and try to make it look all snazzy. But that'll be one of the projects that we kind of maybe try to tackle towards the end, because I'm not looking forward to making that big fucking fan thing. So that's what we're going to start off with. That's our base right there that we're going to start off with. And if you look, it gives him plenty of room to get in and out. And I'm going to, like I said, start fabricating up and back, and then we're going to try to get this top portion done, and then we can start kind of filling in on the sides. Now I have an idea of how in a way of how I kind of figured out how to do things with the wrecking rig, because that was probably up until now the most extensive fabrication I have. So I learned a lot with that, and it was real simple, not real simple, but it was much easier than this, because it was just sort of a flat base rectangle, and you just sort of had to keep everything, you know what I'm saying, at like 90 degrees or whatever. So I mean, this is gonna be a completely different thing. So we're gonna be learning all kinds of stuff with this one, and we're just gonna kind of keep rolling. But that's where we are right now with this part. Now the other portion that I started fabricating and working on last night was recreating this little rectangular box here on this side to go on this side, so then that way we can have the dual mounted cannons in the front. And so I roughly, based off of from my measurements off of this one, as you can see, it's a little bit bigger, but like I said, this is just our little mock-up that I wanted to do. So I'll probably end up making a cleaner one, because it didn't stay as clean as I want. So it'd be pretty easy to take apart and refabricate. So then we did this, and I'm going to try to line it up to where it looks similar to where the one on the other side is. And so what this is going to do, it's going to give us, like I said, the symmetry of the front having the two cannons like that. See how that looks? So we're starting to look more moccasin-ish by the minute. So that's going to be nice and clean. So when I was fabricating that, I was kind of going over the ideas of what I want to do for those actual cannons. And if you look at the toy, it's basically just, you know, the tube of the cannon comes out, and then there's like a slightly bigger, you know, muzzle brake portion of it that comes out. But I don't want to do that. I mean, because I could, and I'd just get a piece of styrene and then get a slightly larger piece of styrene, you know, and connect it at the front and kind of mimic that. So when I was looking through my parts box, I was thinking, well, I would like to keep it as, you know, sort of real world-ish-esque as I could. And so I had a couple of the Gatling guns from Breaker's Ram in my parts box, and so I said, well, why don't I just try this? So what I did was, as I cut them down, and I cut right past this sort of support ring that keeps all the barrels in line. I cut out, you know, I did it to two of them, and then those are what we are going to French inside of here in order to give us the dual cannons in the front and give us the look that we're looking for. Now I am going to, like I said, keep the rocket launcher on this side because I like that added armament and that added feature. But I think I'm going to just end up painting the missile or this little rocket a different color, probably red, and maybe put some Cobra logos, some stickers from Bad Mother Tattoo and Custom, like these cool ones right here. Shout out to Bad Mother Tattoo and Customs. I really dig his water slide decals. So we'll be using some of those on here as well. And I'll probably have to order some more to maybe see if he's got some bigger ones, because I'd like to put some big Cobra logos on here and really you know, make it look dope. So yeah, so we're gonna be looking like that in the front, and like I said, it'll be all, and these are just kind of mocked up, but these are gonna be slightly inside of here, so they're gonna be set in, and they're not just gonna be resting on top of here. They're gonna be, you know, hovering slightly above like they would, so they could have, you know, actual movement. They're not gonna move, but you know, mild reality, we're going to try to mimic it, right? Now, the other armament that our weapons that it came with was the turret in the back. Now, when I was looking through the parts box to figure out what I wanted to do with those, I had come across these that I had got from Antonatos Unlimited. So I had this here, and it's basically like a big AK. I believe they're called RPKs, if I'm not mistaken. And it's basically sort of like a saw version of an AK, and you know, it comes with this cool drum, and it's got the forward grip. And so I was for a while I was kind of stacking large machine guns, because I was kind of breaking all my army builders down into like fire teams, and I wanted some heavy gunners. So I started kind of getting a couple of these here's and there's for that. And so I only had one, and so I was like, well, I want to make it the twin guns because I think that would look really, really dope as the twin guns that are up here. And like I said, since we're going more into the realm of stuff that actually exists, like mini guns or Gatling guns, I wanted to go ahead and put two of these on there. Now my idea is I'm going to be, and I'll hold it like this so you can kind of see. I'm going to cut it about right here, and then right about here I am going to create, you know, I'll have to measure it out, you know, in accordance with the second one, and I'll put like a support brace here, so then that way they'll attach there. Their drums are going to have a connecting piece, so it's going to look like one big, almost kind of like cassette, you know, kind of looking drum. And then also here on the forward handle, I am going to put a bar that goes across, and that bar that goes, that piece of styrene that goes across is where it's going to attach to the turret. So you'll have that bar, and it'll clip on, so it'll be able to go up and down. You'll have, you know, up and down elevation, and then you'll be able to turn the turret. So you'll have not 360 because it's going to be a fan boat, but you'll have, you know, a good 180 or so of being able to spin and be able to, you know, get on your target. So, but, you know, they say fate always has a hand in things. And so after realizing that I wanted more of these, because I'm going to end up doing more boats, because it's actually pretty fun to fabricate all this stuff, I actually contacted Athanatos Unlimited through Instagram, and I asked him if he happened to have any of these, you know, in his inventory at the moment. And he said that he didn't, but that he would be, you know, more than happy to print some off for me as soon as he could. And so, you know, I happily agreed. And he's a really cool dude. And if you don't follow him and you haven't purchased anything from him, really check him out. He's got a great Etsy store that just has, I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different weapons for the 6-inch, 7-inch scale. I mean, he's got melee weapons. He's got all kinds of rocket launchers, computers, head sculpts. You know, actually figure, you know, actually gear for them. I mean, he's got an incredible store, and I've been getting stuff from him for the last couple of years or so, kind of from when he started off, and the quality has always been good. You know what I mean? I mean, check out the quality of that print. It's great quality. And he's a super nice guy. He's very easy to deal with, and he's one of those guys in the community that you're glad that he's there, because he is, you know, he is such a good thing for us to have guys like that. So really shout out to like the third party guys who are really kind of filling in all the gaps for us and stuff like that. So like I said, it's Athanatos Unlimited. So go ahead and give him a follow, check him out, check out his Etsy store, and support my boy. So right after I got done messaging with him and you know, we came to our agreement, I looked right back in that same parts bin, and what do you know? I happened to have two, and I didn't realize it. So I got two, and so what I'm going to do is like I said, we're going to measure them out, have them together, and let me see if I can hold these right, not Michael J. and have it all shaking, get everybody seasick. So we're going to have those together. Like I said, we're going to be removing the stocks, and then we're going to be attaching them by a brace in the back, the back part of the upper receiver, through the fore grips, and then through the magazines, and the brace in the back. Hold on, it's hard for my hands are all messed up from all my years of work, so it's hard for me to hold them. So then that way we will have these twin guns back here, and that's what our gunner is going to be rocking. So that's it for the armaments. You know what I mean? That's where we're at right now. So I have everything laid out that I want laid out, as far as being able to find those pieces. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep working on fabricating this, working on, you know, fit and finish and trying to get stuff on there. All right, so that's going to be it for this episode. I just wanted to go kind of slightly over the fabrication portion of it. And so I'm going to keep going, and then as I make more progress, I'll film the third one, and we're going to keep going. So this is probably going to be a long series, so stay tuned and buckle up for the ride. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you for tuning in.